Okay, so we're going to begin today, and I'm going to give a short overview of the topic. And I am joined here today by a very distinguished panel of speakers. Starting in the middle here, we have Dale Mulroney, Asset Information Lead from Honda America Manufacturing. Down in the end there in the blue shirt, we have Jim Sullivan, Engineering and Maintenance Lead at Southern Garden Citrus Processing. He is an expert on management of change. And here we have all-around APM evangelist Terry O'Hanlon, officially CEO and publisher of Reliability Web. Okay, so I want to start with a little bit of food for thought here on business transformation. Everyone's talking about business transformation, digital transformation. It's one of the primary themes of this conference. But companies that change may survive, but companies that transform will thrive. And this is a quote by Nick Candido. I just happened to come across it. I really don't know his claim to fame, quite frankly. But I liked it, so I used it. But change management is the transition from the current state to the future state. If you, depending on who you talk to, it could either be General George Patton or Lee Iacocca that said you have three choices. You can lead, follow, or get out of the way. Most of us here believe that as far as digital transformation is concerned, that you either need to lead or follow, or you're just going to be left in the dust, quite frankly. And today we're going to talk about business transformation. Now, truth in advertising, I want you to be aware actually that even though we're talking about APM and the digitalization of APM, what we're really going to talk about here is management of change. Because you are going to hear a lot today about, or this week I should say, about the technology involved in digital transformation and what to implement. Because quite frankly, if you do not get your people and your processes fixed, no matter how much technology you apply, you will not succeed. So here we're going to talk about management of change because transformation is a big change. And the change that we're going through, obviously, is this digital transformation. We're going from the known world here, down in the pneumatics world, with the old recorder there. We're applying disruptive technologies to new outcomes, new business models. And we're seeing some of those appear. As a matter of fact, this morning I just read an article that said that Ford Motor Company is actually looking at a new model, business model, that instead of selling you a car, they're going to sell you a plan. They'll sell you based on how many miles you drive, based on the model that it is, so that you don't actually own the car, but you have the use of it exclusively. It's not like a rideshare program, but exclusively yours. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. Maybe the next time I go to buy a car or replace my vehicle, I could be ready for something like that. So we're talking change versus transformation. I think the important thing here is that change fixes the past, transformation creates the future. In change, we implement a defined alteration. For transformation, we want the opportunity to reinvent and discover. In change, we're dealing with tactics. In transformation, we're dealing with strategy. Change deals with shifts in how we work. Transformation is going to cut across the entire organization. Change focuses on fixed initiatives. Meanwhile, this transformation is going to consist of multiple and independent intersecting initiatives. So the digital effort is going to necessitate, new approaches, particularly for assessment. We need to pilot, we need to scale and implement, we need to sustain the change, most importantly. Beware of the blind spots, be flexible, have a plan. It seems like managing change should come second nature to us. We all think that we do a great job of it, but I think if we're really honest, we'll see that we don't. But basically, we need to build the business case. We need to communicate the changes up and down the food chain. We need to involve the workforce, because they're the ones that are actually going to implement the change, and so then have a phased rollout. So that, in a nutshell, is change. Certainly a lot easier said than done. So why aren't we better at this? I definitely think that one of the things about digital transformation and IoT is that many people think they have to swallow the whole thing whole. So it gets too big, too fast, you can't control it, it's just collapses. We don't have a clear objective, we don't have internal alignment, we don't have understanding, we don't properly assess the risks, we're dealing with disparate networks, in which case if they don't talk to each other, we don't have a total picture. We have lack of automated analytics. Analytics can do great things, but they're not going to solve everything. And we need to understand what we're doing actually first before we apply the analytics, in my opinion. And it generally leads to cost overruns. But what are the consequences of failed management of change? You demotivate your employees, you waste resources, you increase turnover, and it crushes the bottom line. And that in itself, I think, is an incentive for us to do a better job with this. What is different about this one is that in previous industrial revolutions, we've been replacing human power with machines. This one's a little bit different in that we're replacing the machines with artificial intelligence. And I think some people have a hard time wrapping their minds around that. So the keys to success, again, very easily said, and I'll let my distinguished speakers here go into more detail, but we need to define the goal, communicate the change loudly, broadly, and clearly, involve employees. Cross-functional teams are truly a must. You need to walk the walk and talk the talk to change the culture. Define the desirable behavior, measure success, and you need to do that well. Otherwise, you won't know where you stand. You need to drive the desired behavior. You need to nip resistance in the bud, and you need to collaborate, especially with IT and business departments. So I opened with a quote. I'm going to close with a quote from none other than Charles Darwin, The Theory of Evolution. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. So we need to change to be successful. And with that, I'm going to turn it over first to Dale Mulroney.